And now, it's time for the next episode of the CSCE tapes. CSCE.
While Pekka was visiting Reiska, 96-bit Sybil was sent to visit Irmeli. Jussi's diary mentioned that she'd been planning to move to East Berlin to work in a record shop on Unter den Linden, Glasperlenspiel. Combined with other data the group already had, from Pentagon archives and Supo, the group got lucky.
Irmeli still lived in Berlin, married to record owner Klaus Meine. That's how we founded her onto Facebook.
She'd also gained a small reputation as a sculptor. One piece in particular. This was the woman we had so many questions for. Could she tell us more about the mysterious taxi driver? About Jussi? About why she had vanished? 96-bit Sybil and Irmeli met in a small cafe in Prenzlauer Berg on Kolwitzstrasse, a place called Café Weltende.
My name is Irmeli Haywood. I was born in Finland, but I've lived in Berlin since 1984. I run a record shop, Glasperlenspiel, together with my husband, Klaus. Music, art, culture, those things tend to follow me. I suppose I'm an artist of some kind myself, or at least I try to be. And yes, some people think I used to be a Russian spy. I know what you must be thinking. 3 men, 2 dead, 1 vanished, femme fatale, escaping the scene.
Wait, 3?
Yes, Arne, Jussi, and Martikainen, Jussi's boss.
That was new. Until then, Martikainen was just a name in Jussi's notes. The man who tried to stop his digging.
After Jussi disappeared, the police came first. Rude men asking ugly questions. Then they left. Weeks later, Martikainen showed up. He said he wanted to finish what Jussi had started. My name was in Jussi's papers, several times, underlined in red.
What did he ask you about?
The taxi driver, what he'd seen, the lights, the cages. Jussi had written about it. He said politicians were involved, but no one wanted to talk.
Irmeli told Martikainen that the driver had spoken of small creatures transported around Helsinki during the CSCE summit, in dog cages and ice hockey bags. Just like we'd already heard in Jussi's tape. But there was more. Arne Kalonen wasn't the only driver with such experiences. He had told Irmeli that another driver claimed to have taken part himself, using his cousin's delivery van. He'd heard something move under the tarp, soft and restless, like breathing. That man died in a crash the same day President Carter announced he wouldn't open the UFO files as he had promised before. Coincidence? Or increased KIUB activity?
Martikainen became obsessed with the case and me, like Jussi before him. He was married, but one thing led to another. That weekend, he came to me with 2 big bags, said he wanted to finish Jussi's story. He told his colleagues he was on a work trip investigating an axe murder in Lahti. His wife, he told, that he was fishing with friends in Lapland.
Martikainen had brought the typewriter with him. He wrote in Irmeli's living room while she cooked in the kitchen. They had some wine, and every now and then Martikainen asked what she thought about the people he was writing about and all the strange details in Jussi's notes. At one point, he asked if Paavo Väyrynen had already been involved in politics back in 1974. Irmeli said she only remembered it because it was such a strange question.
The article was almost finished. Jussi had found something he shouldn't have, and finally, Martikainen had connected it all with some new, crucial information. He was nervous, but the wine made him relax a bit. About an hour after dinner, he said he was ready and he promised to show me everything. But before that, he wanted to make love again. That made him tired. He fell asleep and never woke up.
You were home when it happened?
No. When he fell asleep, I went shopping. Beer for Martikainen and something for the evening. When I came back, the place smelled strange, sweet. He was still in the bed, not moving. I called the police. A gas leak in the oven. Odd, since it was electric.
The police arrived quickly, almost like they were already there. The cause of death was soon listed as an unfortunate gas leak, and no further investigation was made. Irmeli, still in shock, was taken with them. They said she shouldn't be left alone. She could speak with a nice police madam and then be questioned, as the standard procedure goes. The typewriter was left untouched as they took her to the police station with a half-finished page still in it. But when she returned, the paper on the typewriter was gone, and all the notes and files Martikainen had brought with him. Someone had been there. Was it the police or someone else? Irmeli never found out. Before leaving Finland, Irmeli stored her things in her brother's attic, among them the typewriter. She never came back for it.
I was tired. Deaths, disappearances, anomalies. Then came Pierre. In Inku, he had a car and hot mustaches.
Officially, the case was closed. Unofficially, it had only just begun, 40 years later. Irmeli confirmed much of what the group already suspected from the CSCE tapes and other sources. Nothing sensational, but the picture was clearer. The story finally made sense. And the group had new leads. Did the police still have something in their archives? The group would have to find out. And first of all, the typewriter.
I was never gonna make it. No chance, boy, we absolutely hate it.
In Finland, Pekka waited eagerly for 96-bit Sybil's video material. When it finally arrived on Friday evening, sauna-clean Pekka took a deep breath. Then he clicked the MP4 file. He was hypnotized seeing Irmeli after all those years. At first, he barely noticed what she said, but after the third viewing, something bothered him.
That was the moment I noticed the wall clock in the background of the video had suddenly jumped 11 minutes. as if something had been cut out. I remember thinking, great, missing time. That's all we needed. An alien abduction. Maybe.
So Pekka called an urgent video meeting with the group and asked what had happened to the missing minutes. Had Irmeli been in toilet or something?
No, that was not the case.
It turned out that the Berlin footage contained personal details about Jussi. Some in the group thought they were unnecessary.
It wasn't relevant to the investigation, in my opinion. And I didn't want to hurt Pekka's feelings.
But Pekka insisted. If the group hid it and someone found out later, he said, it would destroy the credibility of their message. At least he demanded to see the material himself.
I'm not the man to put his head in the bush. And neither was Jussi.
So the tripod group decided to include the material for transparency, because the truth must come first, as much as it might hurt. Here it is.
How did you met Jussi?
We met while he was digging that taxi driver case, as he called it. We had some fun, and he took me to spend midsummer with his relatives. Maybe just to make his brother jealous. A pretty young blonde, you know.
You had an argument in some point?
Sure, in the morning after we made love. Jussi said he loved me and wanted to move in. I laughed and told him I was moving to Berlin, as I'd said before. He went crazy. What did he think? A man in his 40s. He was a typical 80s man. Saying I love you is enough for anything. Never mind my dreams about Berlin. Or his drinking habits. So I told him to take me to the station, train or no train. So much shouting. I felt sorry for the cute boy who saw it all. I liked him. He left me at the station. I saw him walk toward the bar. Never saw him again.
After hearing the missing minutes, Pekka was ashamed for his uncle and disappointed. There were so many questions he wished Sybil had asked. The next morning, Pekka got a text from an unknown number.
That made me smile.
Later that day, Irmeli sent one more message. She told her brother that Pekka might come for the typewriter she'd left behind. That was the last confirmation the group ever got from her. By the time Pekka tried to reach her again, she was gone. No replies, no traces. But the typewriter was still there, waiting. On Sunday morning, Pekka headed to Savonlinna, to the address Irmeli had given him, her younger brother Appo's place, to collect the typewriter.
Oh, baby, why you always cry? And tell me your life is such a lie. And why you say you wanna die? You just need an alibi. Oh, baby, why always so sad? Brooding over all that's bad. Is there a way to make you smile, even for a little while? Baby, ooh, baby, I know it's hard to shine as a moon in the middle of the stars, but they are so far away, so don't be afraid. I know your light is stolen, and the other side is
I was just a kid when Irmeli left boys burning. That was unusual, people thought. But I didn't really understand any of it back then. Before she went, she got some of her things here. If they're anywhere, they should still be in the attic, in a wooden chest, in that small building back there. Just right here, I'll get the key.
Don't hide your heart from me, you're safe here, so don't you flee. Oh, baby, I know it might
The chest contained more than dust. There were old letters, a postcard from Leningrad, red ink, foreign stamps, vinyl,
Those were the days.
and something else Pekka remembered. Irmeli's bikinis, the same color he remembered from the photograph, the same summer at the lake before everything changed. But beneath all the nostalgia, there was one thing Pekka had come for. the typewriter. Apo handed it over to Pekka, who packed it into his Tesla. Before leaving, Pekka stayed for dinner. Apo and his wife insisted, politely but firmly. The group decided to send the machine to Switzerland. Herr Kitzbühel believed he could analyze the ribbon on a molecular level to extract Martikainen's final words. It was a long shot, but then again, every great revelation starts as one. There was a sense of anticipation in the air. Pekka was waiting. The tripod group was waiting. Days passed and there was still no word from Kitzbühel. For the first time in a while, Pekka returned to the tinfoil hats-off quorum. He was surprised to see how long his original thread had grown and how full his inbox had become. People were asking where he had gone, whether anything new had surfaced. Some even wondered if Pekka himself had been abducted. Africaman 82 was not pleased. He criticized Pekka for dropping his case into the quorum and then disappearing without explanation. According to him, that was not how things were done. He also claimed to have new findings related to the tape's frequencies. The analyzers, he said, he had sent privately. After spending hours trying to get back on the map, Pekka made a decision.
I needed a sandwich.
Then Pekka wrote,
I said it was the wrong tape.
That did not go over well.
Then I added that I had realized it was actually a radio play. Quite famous in Finland in the 80s. The voice just sounded like my uncle. My mistake. All fiction.
That raised hell. At that point, Pekka felt like Han Solo on the Death Star, stuck in an unwanted conversation, wishing he could just blast the console and walk away. Instead, he deleted his profile. Later, Zagreus scolded Pekka for acting recklessly and putting the project at risk, since, as he put it, they were certainly monitoring the quorum closely. Pekka felt ashamed, but he argued that saying nothing would have been even worse.
I admit I was pissed for being criticized, even for a good reason. And I hadn't actually revealed anything. So I said maybe this was just my version of playing five-dimensional chess.
Pekka reminded Zagreus that this kind of move had never been entirely foreign to the group. It was, after all, the way of the great leader himself, something Pekka had learned in London. So, there was turbulence in the air, frustration, waiting. But at least, as Ovilji later said, Pekka had shown that he had some balls after all.
Where the hats are made of tin, only while outside is when a pink light strikes
This ain't nothing my mama ever said. This is a world that Dick made. Not that I'm about to whine or complain, but reality is twisted and insane.
After 14 days, Herr Kitzbühel's assistant, Fräulein Oberstdorf, finally sent the invitation. The waiting was over. By then, Kitzbühel hadn't only analyzed Reiska's samples, he had also restored the Super 8 film, frame by frame. Following the group's protocol, the restored material had already been forwarded for independent review to the same external experts the tripod group routinely relied on. For the first time, everything was aligned. Not just testimonies, but physical evidence. Blood, green residue, film, decades-old claims, finally tested. At first, what was found in Reiska's blood sample?
It was ketchup, brand Felix, additive-free.
Ketchup.
Yes, no signs of contamination. Viscosity normal, pH level 3.9, zero radiation. We triple-checked. It is definitely ketchup.
What did you make of the green anomalous substance?
That one was straightforward. Basic isotope mapping, neutron bombardment, nothing exotic. The green substance appears to be pickle relish, a condiment typically used in Finnish late-night food stands.
The group tried to stay calm. The ketchup and pickle relish theory was not what they had hoped for. But what about Martikainen's typewriter?
Going to molecule level, not enough. Data is there, but also not there. Probabilities do not match. Dark matter still too dark. We need a DNA sample from the operator of the device to regroup the atoms in biological modeling.
That was truly disappointing. And there were no new sections found from the CSCE tapes either. Only some irrelevant markings from JUMALAUTA tape, how Jussi was worried about his nephew Pekka's problems in school. The DNA request sounded difficult, but it was the only path left. But while the group was still talking, 96-bit Sybil had quickly checked one thing. She interrupted Zagreus sharply.
That may prove difficult, since according to the records, there is no trace of a man named Martikainen ever serving as editor-in-chief at Alibi, nor is Jussi credited as a writer in any article in the magazine's database.
Wait a minute. You said what?
It was like an electric shock would have hit their skulls and bones. Grace asked everyone to calm down and told Sybil to dig deeper. They needed the DNA. There certainly would be an explanation, he insisted. Or a trace left if it was some KIUB business. But there was no time to breathe. While the group was still processing Kitzbühel's findings, Ovalgi paid a visit to Dr. Irena Haywood, the expert the Super 8 film had been sent to earlier. Haywood was a senior astrophysicist, widely respected in her field, and a former consultant for the European Space Research Council. Her analyses were known for being brutally precise. When she spoke, the group listened. Back with the group, Ovalgi presented Haywood's recorded analysis. Haywood began with Reiska's claim of an alien massacre on a forest road.
Kaikkia näit samaan suuntaan. Ihmisiä, lapsia, koiria, paarnu jotain. Kummallisia jälkiä eteläpäin tuloasi. Sandaalijälkiä lumessa. Jahtari perässä varmaan on verta lumen alla. Aamuesta sitä satoi. Miksiköhän mä puhun näin ufosti, kun iso talo Antti.
I've reviewed that section several times. The tracks are clear, dozens of them. But they don't all lead the same way. Some overlap, some cross, a few even circle back. There's no sign of blood, no disturbance suggesting panic or struggle. If the snow preserved the footprints, it would have preserved any bloodstains as well. Most likely, we're seeing ordinary human and animal tracks, and some cross-country skiers. No sandals. Still, Reiska's note about rain is accurate. I cross-checked it against Finnish Meteorological Institute data and NOAA satellite records for that date.
Ja tää puupino. Mitä puhutaan leikkaukset? Runga mitä sattuu, mutta pinnat iiraa suoriin. Ei ole mahdollista ihmistä työkamuilla.
At first glance, it might look unusual, the precision, the even surfaces, but when carefully compared with standard Finnish logging footage, it matches perfectly. The cuts weren't made after stacking. They were done on site, then lifted into piles, the normal procedure.
Now that was an impressive analysis.
Still, Reiska's observation shows remarkable attention to detail. Most people wouldn't have noticed the alignment at all.
Haywood's verdict remained the same. Rational, detailed, and never absolute. One by one, he took Reiska's claims apart, methodically, as if disassembling a nuclear reactor. Yet his final conclusion pointed somewhere no one had anticipated.
Having examined Reiska's recordings, notes, and statements, along with Jussi's statement from 1984, my conclusion is this. The structure and recurring imagery in Reiska's account mirror the case of science fiction writer Philip K. Dick. The Pink Light, 1974, Nixon, Romans, the dialect. There are two explanations. Either he consciously or unconsciously borrowed from Dick's narrative, or he was subjected to an identical transmission event. Based on the available data, the first seems more likely.
How did they miss it? Or did they? Pekka wasn't sure about the rest of the group. After all, wasn't this supposed to be their field of expertise?
Saatanan tunarit.
The disappointment was quiet. For the first time, even Pekka began to doubt the process. Had Reiska's material led them nowhere? Misinterpretations, noise, false trails? Was Martikainen even real? And what about Jussi? Would he fade away from the photographs, like in Back to the Future? Or was this something else entirely? Maybe it was the tapes, something Herr Kitzbühel had done while working with them, rearranging data, collapsing probabilities, pulling at things that were never meant to be pulled. Did it open an alternative universe? Or several of them?
Stay cool. CSCE Tapes.
CSCE.